could how could anybody be in a bad mood with this fucking ripping tune going? All right. Well, if you're in the chat, hi, welcome. Let me know how it sounds, how it looks. This is kind of a rush stream, so I don't know. I didn't really prepare. I wasn't planning on streaming today, but we'll get into all that shit in a minute. Let's get started. Unless there's an issue that pops up, somebody in the chat, let me know if anything goes wrong or goes awry in whatever way. Turn my own volume down so I can think better. All right, we have 0 employees, 1 contract, 1 garage. That's the guy we want to go for. Yes, this is the tractor we want to go for. Advertising campaign update, social media ad. Yes. Newcomer rank 3, new level unlocked. Okay, I don't know what that fucking means. So I get a cool axe or something? Alright. We can't upgrade. Purchase headquarters. Don't we have a fucking headquarters? No? Alright, well I like this tractor, so we're not gonna fucking worry about it. What a game. What a weird game. If you're just popping in, hi. Let me know how the audio is. Looks like I can't buy any of this shit, so who cares? No, I don't want to exit career mode. I just want to know what the hell I'm doing. All right, we already did that. Did we do this one? Or are these new contracts? They look familiar. All right, I don't know. I thought we did this one. Start. Okay, we're off. How are you? How's the world? I feel like when I'm not at work, I'm here in this goddamn chair talking to nobody all the time now. Last night I went back to the show that I sort of half abandoned over the summer. Changed up a little. It used to be a very produced show, a lot of editing involved, a lot of effects, but it was becoming quite a stressor. So on my other more popular channel, I just did it live. It was alright. It was a lot sloppier. It wasn't as great as I'd hoped, but I don't really have the equipment to do that. I mean, if I had a second person here running a lot of the technical stuff, it would have been better, or if I had some sort of TD board, maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, the show went fine. It went nice. And now here I am doing this, and I had a whole conference call about an hour ago that was very stressful, which will lead into what we're talking about today once we get cutting the lawn. I could have swore I did this lawn already. We'll see how I feel. I know I was doing one lawn mowing stream where I talk about whatever's bothering me, and then I was doing an Alan Wake stream just to sort of clear my head. We'll see how it goes. All right. Let's walk around the yard, pick up any shit. Oh, you know, this doesn't look familiar. Maybe I hadn't done this. All right, so we're just gonna do a quick look around the yard, See if there's any shit we need to pick up. And then once we get on the tractor, I'll start talking about things that I won't regret. How's the weather wherever you are? I'm just going to talk to this empty chat room as if there's 400 people in it. Good point, chat. Oh, fucking garden gnome. I wish there were like hidden collectibles. No, I don't. I take it back. Every time I play a game where there's collectibles, the whole game just becomes about collectibles and loot and bullshit. Is that it? There's just 2? No, there's supposed to be 3. Where's this third thing? I'm looking. Did I walk by it? Maybe it's over here in this little patch. Where the hell is the third thing? Chat, what'd I miss? I don't see a third thing. There it is. Okay. What is it? It's like just garbage. We could have hit that with the mower. Come on. The garden gnome I understand, but no reason we can't hit envelopes with the mower. It's like mulch. Biodegrades. Unless it's got the little plastic window. Alright, there's our fucking godlike mower. Fill the fuel. Get on vehicle. Vroom vroom, boys. I'm holding X. What the fuck? Oh, we should have changed the blades too. What does recover mean? That was me most of the time I was doing landscaping. Spent most of my time recovering. I don't... What the hell does recover mean? I'm holding Y. It's not doing a goddamn thing. Are you sure you want to exit the contract? No. What is going on with you? Let me mow this lawn. Oh, I figured it out. I'm just an absolute idiot. I was hitting back instead of start engine. All right. Let's look behind us. Nothing behind us. All right, get a nice easy start. Should we do we want to just bang out this little side patch real fast? Sure. Drop the blades. I'll tell you, this is the best game I've purchased in fucking 15 years. So I've been, today specifically, I've been thinking a lot about autonomy. I mean, I think about autonomy a lot. I am generally speaking, I would definitely describe myself as an anarchist, which is something that gets wildly misinterpreted by goddamn almost everybody. It's often seen as a sort of childish point of view, and that like it's like no gods, no masters. Is like no parents were eating ice cream for breakfast, and we don't give a shit. And that's just not the case. I specifically would consider myself ANCOM, anarcho-communist, because I feel like that is the best way to run a society with mutual benefit for everybody, and progress instead of punishment, which unfortunately punishment is a driving factor in the way we currently do damn near everything in the world we currently exist in. But getting back to autonomy, that's the main reason that I lean slightly more on the anarchist side. I fully believe that there is, besides, say, things like skill level with a doctor, there's no there's no power that anyone else really has over you. You know, like there's no one is above you. No one is better than you. No one should be able to tell you what to do. No one should be able to make your life worse. You have the ability to say no and to do whatever you want, right? Hopefully, you would use that for the betterment of the people around you. Hopefully. That's not always the case, but it's also not my job to say you need to do these things, that you need to do anything. You don't. Consciousness is a fucking insane thing, and we honestly don't know too much about it. We don't know if this is the only shot we get at consciousness, which, in my opinion, means that we should be able to use our time however we see fit, so long as we are not harming other people. Like I said, hopefully we would use that for good. Hopefully we would use our time to build our communities and to take care of those around us. Hopefully we would choose to be kind. And based on things like poverty studies and crime rates, if we abolished things like money or the penal system as it currently stands, which is essentially just torture, and I'll be honest, isolation is torture. If we got rid of those things, those factors which are built to keep people down, a specific class of people, but we don't really need to get super into it, then I think most people generally do want to take care of the people around them. You know, there's that whole trope of like the tough guy, but he always takes care of his mom. You know? And I think in general, people are like that, and we should have the ability to make those decisions for ourselves. Now, there are certain situations where people are fucking idiots, and there's a little gray area. The vaccines is a great example where no one should be forced to do anything, and absolutely no one should be forced to put anything in them. Agreed. However, when not doing that increases the chance of harming other folks, then do it, or at least stay away from other folks. A few ANCOM writers that I've read in the past little while have discussed, like, what do we do when we have a community that, oh shit, I killed a flower, that, you know, there's a person who is an obvious threat to the community. And there always will be people like that. There always will be, regardless of the civil structure. What do we do? If we don't have prisons, if we don't have police, what do we do? The most accepted idea after, therapy, is banishment. If you are harming the community, you're no longer welcome in it. Which, even that, that can get into some gray area, and I've definitely had stupid online arguments with anarchists who think that's a violation of autonomy. But anyway, I guess I don't have a huge point here. I'm just saying that, like, things like the prison system, things like debt in any form, they're not doing any good. They do way more harm than good, in ways that people might not even consider. So, recently I was discussing with a coworker some of my lighter legal troubles with like fines for traffic violations. Okay, so there was one point where I was driving without a license, but I didn't realize that I was driving without a license. I had moved around a lot, things got shuffled around. I didn't realize it. It happens. I had to go to court for it. They basically, I could have a fine or go to jail. Well, I didn't have the fucking money. Period. I didn't have the money, so I had no choice. It didn't look like I was going to have the money. I had no choice. So, because of that, though, I lost some time from work. I can't explain how dehumanizing it is to sit in a tiny little cell for days and days on end with no interaction with people forcing you to do things for driving without a license, man. First off, yes, I think you should be skilled enough to operate a vehicle, but do I think that it should be necessary to have a driver's license? Because I'll tell you, some folks that I know with driver's license still shouldn't be driving. It's like Twitter. Anybody can be on Twitter, but some people have blue checks, you know? Maybe a driver's license should be more of a sign of you're fucking capable or something. I don't know. Wait a second. What is this big patch of yard over here? Okay. Same thing with like hunting or fishing licenses. I understand the good they do in the modern world. I do. But I also think that, it seems pretty fucking weird that this thing that humanity has done for 100,000 years or possibly longer suddenly requires other people to tell you that it's okay. Camping permits, there's a fucking great example. But we don't want people camping in places they shouldn't be. Fuck off. Who is deciding where they shouldn't be? I live in Austin, and there's people camping under fucking overpasses. Is it because they want to be? No, it's because they fucking have to be. And when it comes to forests or open fields or that kind of shit, let them fucking camp there. What is going on? Oh, we don't want garbage or people fucking it up. Well, that's a different problem. But I don't... it's infuriating. Autonomy is so... It's almost as if we've given up on the idea of autonomy, as if that would be a radical concept to a lot of people. The idea that we should be in charge of the life that we have, of this fucking brief instance of a consciousness that we are blessed with. I think a lot of the problems that we solve with things like permits or fines or jail time could absolutely be solved by abolishing capitalism, but let's not go on too long about that. We all know that. But also general education. Okay, we as a country we're basically taught to be competitive, to be the coolest, to be on top, to look out for number one and number one only. That's a lesson that we're taught, like, from birth. We don't come out of the womb like that. We're shown that. And if we change that, 2 generations down the line, this could be a very different world. Whenever I make that point, there's inevitably someone that will say that it's utopian and why I think like that. Why would you dream of a fucking future that isn't utopian? I only dream in quarter measures. These are the same fucking people that say vote blue no matter who. Useless. But say what you want. I'm not your fucking boss. As long as you're not hurting other people or the community, you should have total autonomy. And hopefully you'll have the education behind you to understand why it would be good for you to use that time to embetter the lives of the people around you. Force is not embettering. If people are doing things because they're scared of the repercussions of not doing them, that is not a good thing. And I mean that on a basic level. Obviously people eat because they're scared of starving to death. Yes, I know that. But what I mean is, a good example would be when people discuss atheism versus, monotheism of any form, people are like, well, if you're an atheist, why don't you go around killing and stealing and shit? That's weird, right? Like, that's such an interesting insight into, I don't want to say who they are as people, because I've seen people make the argument that just means that if they didn't believe in God, that's what they would be. I don't think that's true. I think it's a lack of education. I think that their worldview means that without that influence, that's humanity's natural state. And I don't believe that. We're taught to think that way. We are taught that we still have kings and masters. We are specifically taught to not control our own lives. Somebody else will handle it. Somebody else will take care of things. Somebody else will do this for me. Somebody else will tell me what to do. Somebody else will take care of the family down the street that's starving. Somebody else will get that guy a blanket, It's depressing. And there's no escaping it, really. Like, we can do our best, and if, I don't know, every single fucking user on Steam had kids and raised them to think about autonomy and of taking care of your community, it still wouldn't be a fucking drop in the bucket. It wouldn't. It needs to be, I don't know what it needs to be. The people that have built things up to be this way won't relinquish that at any point. And there's a part of me that thinks that they are among the people who can't fathom the idea of a world without it. It's funny when discussing the terms of what a world without capitalism looks like, people are quick to try to analyze it under the frame of capitalism. For example, when you say that, housing should be free, an argument that I've seen come up from time to time is that, well, then who pays the builders? You step outside of the goddamn system to think about it. I don't know. It's very... People have a hard time wrapping their heads around concepts that their worldview is not built around. And I get it. I read an article once about how our language defines our freedom of thought. The words we know and the meaning behind those words, and that it is simply impossible for some people in certain languages to have certain thoughts because we don't have a reference point for those thoughts. I do think that's true. And I also think that that extends a lot to worldviews, not just language, but you know, if you are raised in a world where money and force are what makes it spin, it's difficult or even impossible to imagine a world where money and force not only don't make it spin, but are completely unnecessary entirely. Often the sheer hopelessness of living in this society, it becomes very overwhelming and daunting. Like, I know people joke about just running into the woods or whatever, but Jesus fucking Christ, I really think that for a lot of people it's not a joke. I I have this fantasy of how I'd like to spend my life, and for some reason it's always evening. It's like an evening somewhere in like October or November or something. There's a lot of trees and there's a creek nearby, and I spend a lot of time in my barn painting, and then I go play open mics. But I'm in the woods, and going to work, you know, like at my nothing job is not part of that fantasy. I would love to have a job that fucking means something. And I don't, I'm sorry, being a police officer doesn't fucking mean anything. I don't mean a job like that. What I mean is a job that not only contributes to my continued existence, but also to the continued existence of the people around me. I've had one meaningful job that I can remember. I've had a lot of jobs, and it was tough. It was very difficult, but it directly benefited between 2 and 5 human beings, and it was incredibly satisfying. Very tough, but incredibly satisfying. Didn't pay shit though, and eventually I had to leave that job because I simply couldn't afford to live. So in that fantasy, having a job like that, sure, that hits the mark. That fits the criteria. The whole idea of nothing jobs, Second Thought over on YouTube recently had an excellent video on nothing jobs, and how they don't really serve anything. It was something like 50% of people in this interview, I forget, or this survey, believed that their job didn't actually change anything and didn't really matter in the long run. And then it was pointed out how those jobs are necessary for certain functions of capitalism, which is so fucking depressing, man. Spending, let's call it a third of your life doing a job that ultimately has no meaning other than making other people richer. I mean, it's not even like McDonald's. At least McDonald's, somebody needs a fucking sandwich and they get fed. Like, we're talking about like middle management, you know, TPS jobs. A total life in vain. I mean, that's all it is. %50 of the people that were surveyed, by the way, if I didn't say that before. So there's a solid chance that you or anybody in the future watching this is among those people. But we don't ever think about it in those larger terms. We always see it as, but without this job, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to... we don't have to. Like, if we dismantled the system that was forcing us to do these things, we don't have to do them anymore. And we can still survive. We can still be happy. Technology has gotten us to the point where most jobs can be automated. And that's a good thing. I know a lot of people like to shit on robots doing all the jobs. That's a good thing. And as JT over at Second Thought pointed out, there's only two futures that come from automation. One, we automate everything, and then we, as a society, are able to live happily and, follow what we actually want to be in life. That's the good one. We can live, we have everything we need, we've succeeded as a society. That's a perfect world. And then there's the second one, which it certainly seems we are headed to, wherein we do automate things. Corporations see that they can automate for much cheaper than having employees, which leads to mass firings. Detroit's auto market is a perfect example of that. Crushed a whole city. The automation? I don't know. Crushed a whole city, which led to higher unemployment rates unless you were skilled in a different service. But that's kind of the problem. So those people still have bills. They still have to buy food and pay rent and electricity and a car to get back and forth to maybe a new job or at least the unemployment office. Automation only benefited the corporations at that point, further dividing the wealth gap. And that is certainly where automation is heading now. We could be using it to benefit our species as a whole, and instead we are using it specifically to widen the wealth gap at, well, alarming is not even a word like to describe this. There's no catch up at this point. We're past the point of no return. We are talking about trillionaires popping up in the next couple of years. And I don't mean corporations. I mean both Bezos and Musk are discussing the possibility of becoming trillionaires in the next couple of years. And it's probably going to happen. Meanwhile, people like me, and possibly you, are begging for $15 an hour, which is what, $35,000 a year? Rent is skyrocketing. Everybody needs fucking therapy but can't afford it. Gas, electricity, even the fucking internet hasn't gone down in price. It's gone up. Because everybody needs it. And it's systems like this that destroy our autonomy. That destroy any chance of us having any autonomy. Because if I'm going to work for, I work 11 hours a day, 4 days a week. I come home and I'm exhausted. I can't fucking make art after that. Well, if you really wanted to, you would just do it. Fuck off. That's entirely not true. God bless you if you can do that. But most people can't. Most people need to recuperate, even after 8 hours a day. I get really, really hopeless about the whole situation. It's very depressing. I recently had to take some time off from social media, and there was a noticeable dip in my anxiety and despair. And I came back, but I'm monitoring it much more closely now. I'm trying not to get in as many fucking Twitter arguments over dumb shit. I think at this point, there's so few arguments left that people are going to change their mind on. That doesn't mean you should stop talking about unions at your job. You definitely should keep doing it. But I think the division among people is unavoidable at this point, and only growing because of social media. Speaking of, so we all know about the Facebook thing where the report came out that they were like, oh yeah, Facebook purposely pushed hate on its platform, and then Facebook went down. Oh, surprise. Has anyone seen those Facebook commercials lately where it's a bunch of woo horseshit where they're like, we got to realign our chakras and join a Facebook group? Fuck me, that's insulting. There is a definite woo to right-wing pipeline, I suppose. My partner and I briefly discussed it this morning. It does exist, and I really feel like this is just Facebook pushing it. I also have a stupid little theory that the Facebook outage was... We didn't get the story that was actually true. I don't want to be too conspiratorial about it, but I really feel like it might have been Facebook flexing their muscles and saying, look, see what happens when we go down? You need us. That really bothers me. That right now, they're not wrong. We have no dual power structure to deal with the lack of social media. It was easier when we didn't have social media, and people were looking at, well, we can do that again. Fuck me, I'm not sure if we can. Not without some serious effort or change on a lot of people's part. I mean, I'm a musician, and when I was still actively in a band a couple years ago, it would have been impossible to do half of the things that my band did without social media. You know, booking tours and promoting records, like, it would have been absolutely impossible. And that's just one small example. Like, yes, those things can still be done without it, but so many people's point of view would need to be changed for it to even work. And that, I guess that's just the point of everything I'm talking about today, is that, is there a chance that that's even possible without some massive movement in education for the next 15 years? Are we already too far gone? Is human autonomy gone? Because whether you like it or not, every decision you make is driven by some outside factor. And most of those outside factors are found on your phone screen. Targeted advertising is like the least of those concerns. You are purposely shown not only targeted ads, but targeted people in your social feeds, targeted discussions. When you're watching fucking Hulu and you get a commercial, that's targeted advertising, but you're also getting messages specifically to steer you in a certain way. And these go back, your entire life. Every thought you have is based on some way on external stimuli that you picked up along the way. So, is there autonomy? Do we still have it? Is it worth fighting for? Or do I just, shut my mouth, go to work, and wait to be ground up into a puddle of meat? I don't mean to be such a bummer all the time. This world is very depressing. And I am, I'm a sensitive feller. So it's hard for me to keep this shit to myself, especially doing, especially while streaming, because I need something to talk about. So I'm just going to babble about whatever's on my mind. It's kind of how I write songs too. I just start playing and then just babbling about whatever's on my mind. And those are songs. And these are streams. All right, so we're almost done with this lawn. Should we do some Alan Wake after this? Should we do something else? Something a little lighter? DuckTales? Maybe? And we'll figure it out along the way. After this, though, I'm just gonna take a quick bathroom break. Are we over our time? Yeah, we're 5 minutes over. I think the expected time was 29 minutes, right? I've been going pretty slow. Who's gonna yell at me? The homeowner? Don't think so. We only destroyed one flower this time, so that's definitely a positive. Alright, I think we can go do the ring around the tree and then we'll come back and get this little square. Oh, no, the ring's a little bigger than I thought it was. This fucking tree branch in my way, god damn. Alright, now I think we can do the ring. Hell yeah. That's good mowing. Alright, now let's just whip it around and get that little patch here. Should we just leave a nice little crop circle for him? Cutting complete. It is not. I really dislike that. I know it's based on percentages, like, so in case you leave a bunch on the outskirts or whatever. Alright, let's see. Why won't it ever... There we go. Alright, so we got one strip there. There's a couple little patches. We'll get this strip here, but otherwise, fuck it. Boom. There we go. Saw something over here. We'll just mow in this direction. Alright, let's head back to the truck. Lift up the blades. It always says reverse onto the trailer. I'm never doing that. There we go. Look at that beautiful lawn. Gorgeous. All right, so yeah, I'm going to take a quick break. Might jam some fucking almonds in my mouth. And then we come back. I don't know what we're gonna play. Something lighter. I'm still pretty stressed out from my conference call earlier, so I'd really like to lighten it all up, you know. Let's see. Newcomer rank 4, amateur challenge 3. All right. Quit out of this, and then exit to desktop. Hey, we figured out how to quit after like the 15th time we've played this game. That's how it goes. All right, so like I said, I will be back for a stream in a couple minutes. Okay, bye.